Yo, if you clicked on this video, you're looking for a pretty quick and concise, thorough beginner's guide for Valheim. So every time you spawn into a new world, whether you join a friend server or start your own, at the very beginning you get dropped off by the giant bird into this little statue area. Alright, just like most survival games, if you played any other ones, Rust, etc., you start with the bare minimum, you have nothing. The first thing you're going to go do is either go find branches on the ground you can pick up for one piece of wood, or preferably you'll go over here and start punching the trees. Every time you break the trees, it's going to give you 2 pieces of wood, and once you collect your first piece of wood from the ground, it'll pick up blueprints right there you see, and now you're able to craft a few more items. The first thing you're going to be building though is this club for 6 pieces of wood. Alright, and then obviously once you collect enough wood, go ahead and craft that club. Clubs are pretty useful. They're going to be good for your initial damage and fighting any enemies or animals that come at you. They can break down the tiny trees, and they can also start hitting and whacking into the bigger trees as well, so you'll be able to farm wood even faster. So if your durability on that club breaks, you can always collect enough wood to go ahead and build another one, and you'll keep grinding that out. You want to get a bunch of wood saved up because you got a lot of building to do. Alright, after you get your club, next thing you're going to look for will be these little bitty stones. You're going to go ahead and pick those up, and it'll unlock the next set of blueprints. You'll be able to get a stone axe and hammers. These are going to be very important in your success in building bases and everything of that nature, because with the axe and the hammer, you'll be able to collect wood even faster, and you'll also be able to start building things with the hammer. Once you gathered enough wood and stone, you go ahead and craft that stone axe, and now you're going to be able to go up to bigger logs and cut through them. Once you completely cut one up, that's going to give you 10 wood per drop. So that right there is a nice little buff, and it'll get you going even faster towards building. Alright, when you're cutting down trees, make sure you're careful. The game's physics are pretty interesting, and they have fall damage. So if these logs fall down or roll into you, they do hurt a pretty solid amount. So be careful with that. And as you see, they damage each other as well when they break. So if you break down trees close to each other, it makes it a little bit easier to get the logs broken into. And then if you look right here, if they fall near each other or if they're together standing, you can hit both of them with your swings. So you'll be able to chop down 2 for 1 at a quicker rate. That way you can get that wood going even faster. Alright, if you look right where my cursor is, we're at 300 out of 300 items carried right now. Whenever you pick up anything else, your yellow stamina bar will start to drain because you're carrying too much weight. You won't be able to run or nothing. And then as soon as your stamina bar hits all the way down to 0, as long as you're overweight, you're not going to be able to move at all. The only way to regain your stamina and be able to start moving around again is to go into your inventory, and you'll hit shift and left click, and you can use a scale to decide how much to remove, but you'll just take one, left click, toss it out of your inventory, and your stamina will regen again. So just be careful about carrying too much. Until you start building, you won't have chests to put up your resources. Alright, next thing, once you find a plot of land that you want to claim for your own, you're going to go ahead and pull your hammer out, hold down right click, it'll pop up this menu options. You have miscellaneous, crafting, building, and furnitures. You can tab through those with Q and E as well, but the first thing you want to build to claim your plot of land is going to be a workbench. It requires 10 wood, and as you see, it unlocks more blueprints. That way you'll be able to actually start getting into the building of a home. Alright, as you notice, it says crafting station needs a roof, so we're going to need to go ahead and build a wall and a roof over it. That way we'll be able to access the workbench. Alright, to build that roof that you need to be able to access workbench, you'll get one wood wall, put it behind. You're going to throw this roof on top, and then boom, right there you have access to be able to use the workbench. If you click on that little repair icon right there, as you see, my item's broken, one of my axes. Click repair, the repairs are free, and it goes ahead and it fixes everything up for you. So that's just a quick little tip in there. And then as you look on the inside, you start to get your blueprints. And when you built your workbench, you have blueprints for everything else that you can start to build. And as you see, one of the next things you want to try to work towards is going to be that crude bow. And you can also build a hoe as well that'll help you plot out your land and make the grounds more even. So with the hoe, you'll pull that out once you craft one. Let's say you want to find an area and you want to even it out some so your building's built on a more stable foundation. You just go around flattening out the ground area, just left clicking. That's all that takes right there, and then you'll be able to plot out a pretty nice little spot, and then you'll start building the foundation for your house. Alright, once you set up the foundation for where you want to build your house at, next step will be pull your hammer out after you farm some more wood, and you're going to go ahead and start building your home. Now you can build it however you want, 2x2, 3x3. It's really dealer's choice, and you can get real creative with how you build things. I can get into guides later about building homes, but just go ahead and set yourself up something that you're comfortable with and that you like. That's all that matters. Alright, once you got your home built and a roof on top of it, the next thing you want to get down is going to be a campfire. It can't be placed on wooden floors. You do have to place it on the ground itself, so leave a spot for that. And once you get that campfire down, it's going to help you feel more rested. And then the next thing you'll want to get going with that is you want to make sure you keep wood on the campfire to fuel it up. And you'll want to go to your hammer, go to your crafting section, and you're going to want to pick a cooking station. Once you get that cooking station down, that's how you're going to cook any meat you may have gotten from killing deers or the boars. And then once you put that meat on there, it only takes roughly between like 20 to 30 seconds for it to cook. It makes a sizzling noise to let you know that it's done. So once you hear that first sizzle, you go ahead and pull those off. If you let it stay on there too long, they turn to coal. Alright, another quick tip. As you see right here, I'm building with normal walls and half walls, a little back area. I have an opening right there because you're going to want to put your cooking areas or stations where your fire is with an opening, almost a chimney basically, because the smoke in the game can harm you if your roof's not opened up enough. So most people will build a little chimney area for their cooking. You go ahead and you'll throw your fire down right here. You'll keep it where it has a ventilation so the smoke can get out and go out into the open. Alright, another thing you need to get is from your hammer options, you'll go to furniture and you'll see bed. It requires a little bit of wood. I believe it's 8 pieces to build this, but then when you set that down, you can claim it as a spawn point and you'll be good to go. If you keep it close enough to a fire area, and when the fire is going, you can actually sleep because you'll be comfortable enough, and sleep helps speed up the days so you can go from night to day, because in this game more monsters spawn at nighttime, so you have to be careful of that because the combat in this game is pretty punishing and the monsters do a good bit of damage to you if you're not careful. As you see right here, I got attacked by some gray dwarfs whenever I was trying to build my base and working on this video. As I told you right there, boom, they hit pretty heavily, so you got to be careful with that. You have a few attacks in this game depending on which weapon you have out. You can either left click for attack, you hold down right click for blocking. Blocking's pretty effective, but it's definitely better with shields. So you want to go ahead and craft the shield up if you can. The weapons work, but you still take some damage there. And one of the other options you have is if you're holding block and you hit spacebar, you're able to roll. So you can like do dodges and stuff to try and counter their attacks, etc. As you see right here, you roll around. But every monster has a different little attack style, so the more you play, the more you'll learn those. So just be careful with that. Like I said, the combat's pretty fun, but it's also very like punishing if you're not careful. Alright, the next most important thing you're going to need to build is going to be that crude bow. So you're going to go find boars in the game and use your clubs, preferably, or axes to kill them. Every time you kill them, they're going to drop leather scraps guaranteed. It's usually 1 per kill, and you need to get 8 scraps along with some wood to be able to build that bow. So you're going to run around the meadows area finding boars, and it might take you a little while. It took me a good bit, but once you get all of those up, you're going to go ahead and build your bow next. Another thing about this game, the minimap has a pretty solid amount of interaction with it. As you see right down there in the bottom right, next to the icons you have, there's a little button to make you visible to players. So if you click on that and there's other people in your servers, you and your friends can see where everyone's at. The different icons you can set, right there I clicked home and I left clicked it on where my bed was, and you can type in the chat and put home if you want to get rid of things though. Let's say you put another waypoint, you have all these houses, you right click and you can get rid of the icons. So you can set a bunch of those up and you can name them, that way you can kind of keep track of where you are, etc. And as you explore different areas, the more your map will be remembered and opened up to you. And one thing to note is if you're playing in parties with other people, they can't see your map, what you've covered, even if you're in a group or anything like that. So that's why you want to keep that visible to other players icon button checked. That way you can know where everyone's at most times. Alright, last thing for this video, like I said, once you get enough of those leather scraps and then you also have enough wood, you're going to go ahead and go to that crude bow. Go ahead and make that real quick, and then also, like I said, you want to craft yourself a wood shield. Shields are pretty underrated in this game, and they require resin as well as leather scraps. You get the resin from killing the little dwarfs around the world, so every time you see them, just go ahead and kill them as well. Then you can craft some wooden arrows. It's 8 for 20, not a bad deal at all. If you've been farming enough wood, you'll easily go ahead and have a good supply. And then you're going to use this bow to help advance you even further in the game. That bow's going to be good for hunting down deers. It can be used to attack enemies. It's a pretty solid weapon, and then it's also going to be very important for that first boss fight that's going to be happening. Alright, using the bow simple, you're going to go ahead and hold down left click. While that circle encloses, that means there's more power behind it. It also uses more stamina the longer you hold to use a full power shot. And right here is the dwarfs that you need to kill to be able to get the resin, to be able to make the wood shield. Just wanted to go ahead and show you guys this since I had just talked about them. Another thing you can do in this game is sneak. If you hit control, it crouches you down and you'll be sneaking towards animals so they can't hear you. So if you use the sneak, it also takes up stamina while you use it. And as you see right here, I have a deer in front of me, and it has 2 stars on it. So those stars is just a higher level deer, and it means it's going to drop a little bit more loot. And in this case, for the deer, it drops a little bit more on meat for me. And as you saw right there with that missed arrow shot, the arrows do take a good bit of practice, and they have a pretty hard drop to them. So the more you play around with those, the better you'll learn it. And this 2-star deer right here, all that meant for me was he dropped a lot more meat for me. So he dropped, I believe it was 8 pieces off of 1, whereas a normal deer only drops 2. Alright, and then after the bow, that's about everything that I can teach you for a starter or basic edition for the game. I mean, this video right here was to help you learn everything you need to know to get your foot in the ground and start going. It teaches you how to build all the weapons, teaches you how to basically start up a base, some of the fundamentals of the game, and then also just how to prep to be able to get more resources so you can continue to grow and build more in the game. If there's anything more specific you want to ask, you can go ahead and drop it down in the comments below. I would gladly answer any questions or help where I can. And I'm also curious to know from you guys, if you like this video enough, what kind of things would you like to see in the future? Like, there's world bosses in the game. I can make guides about fighting them and finding them, or how to find them, etc., and the best methods for fighting them. We can make guides towards how to build better bases, stronger bases, how to upgrade your bases, and then we can also do guides for the weapons, which ones are best, how to build more weapons, etc. There's a whole bunch about this game, and we barely even scratched the surface, so just let me know down below anything that you want to see, and we'll get to work on it.